Oh, love the fantasy, the lightning, the edit, the illusion of choice. What nobody click on is what to come after. Tonight, it's about scandal. What else? War shock. It's about logistics.
Chapter 1. The Law Student Who Learned the Wrong Law. She was 28 when they called it early retirement. Waseda University, law faculty. On paper, a future judge of society. In reality, she was judging which bills could wait another month. Her family was poor, not the poetic kind of poor, the boring kind. Rent, tuition, quiet shame. So she did what Japan pretends never happens. She worked in Fuzoku, smiles by the hour, dignity rented, not owned. Then someone from an AV production noticed her. Not her intelligence, not her degree, her silence, her compliance, her ability to endure. They sold it as opportunity, exposure, easy money, a temporary detour. Law school teaches contracts, AV teaches who actually enforces them. Eventually, the university found out. Not because it cared about exploitation, because reputations must be protected, and hers was expendable. Expelled. No hearing worth remembering, no appeal that mattered. A law student removed by rules she never got to argue. Japan calls this morality. I call it waste management. If this already makes you uneasy, stay, subscribe, like, because telling these stories is expensive, and silence is what they're counting on. The first AV paycheck felt unreal. Numbers she had only seen in textbooks, suddenly wired into her account. For a brief moment, she believed the lie. That money equals freedom. That this was temporary, strategic, rational. She upgraded her phone, paid overdue tuition, sent money home without explanations. And then the walls started moving. Her schedule filled up fast, too fast to think, shoot, travel, smile, repeat. The production called it momentum. She felt it as suffocation. She stopped using her real name in cafes, stopped meeting classmates near campus, stopped dreaming in long sentences. The irony wasn't subtle. The more visible she became, the less she could exist. Her law degree became a joke she told herself at night. She understood contracts perfectly now. Every clause favored someone else. She learned which scenes paid more and which ones ruined you faster. She learned how fans speak like owners. She learned how silence is rewarded and resistance is remembered. Money came in monthly. Options disappeared daily. Japan loves to say, she chose this. They never finish the sentence. She chose this after every other door was quietly closed. By the time she realized her life had narrowed into a single searchable keyword, it was already archived, mirrored, and monetized by strangers. If you're still watching, don't pretend this is just entertainment. Subscribe, like, support the channel. Because the real obscenity isn't sex. It's how efficiently society discards people once they're labelled. She is 35 now, which means, by Japanese standards, she is already invisible. She debuted in AV in her mid-20s. No scandal, no explosion, no viral moment, just another face in an industry that replaces faces weekly. For 2 years, she tried to stay relevant. Changed hair, changed labels, changed concepts. The algorithm didn't care. Sales dipped. Producers stopped calling. Meetings got shorter. Replies slower. Excuses colder. No farewell, no closure. Just quiet removal from casting lists. Retirement came without drama. Because in AV, only success is loud. After that came the paperwork. Resumes rewritten like crime scene cleanup. Office assistant, data entry, customer support. She learned which years to erase, which jobs to rename, which truths to delete entirely. Now she earns 150,000 yen a month in a windowless office, air-conditioned dignity, unpaid overtime. Colleagues who talk about bonuses she'll never see. By day, she answers emails politely. By night, she puts on makeup again. Not for fame, not for ambition, for rent. She works part-time at a sex service shop after dark. Cash, no questions, no future. The same country that told her AV was easy money now tells her to be grateful for stability. The same society that consumed her image now pretends not to recognize her. Japan doesn't punish failure, it just files it away. If this feels too real, that's the point. Subscribe, like, support the channel. Because the only reason these stories exist at all is that someone decided silence was cheaper.
2 men, 2 careers, same industry. What happened? When the camera stops, the contract ends, and police forget you ever exist. This isn't a redemption story. It's a retirement reward in this industry. Where do you mean? What do you think with me?
They never met. They didn't need to. One studied law at Waseda, believing rules mattered. The other entered AV younger, believing speed mattered. Different starts, same ending. One was expelled publicly. The other was erased quietly. One lost her degree overnight. The other lost her market value over 2 fiscal years. Japan pretends these are different stories. They aren't. Both learned the same lesson late, that society forgives nothing once a woman's body has been priced. The first woman tried to return to respectable life. Every interview stalled at the same invisible wall, background checks, rumors, screenshots. The second woman succeeded, technically, an office job, a chair, a monthly salary that barely covers survival. But respectability in Japan is rented, not owned, and rent keeps rising. Both work twice, one emotionally, one literally. Both are exhausted in ways productivity metrics can't measure. Japan likes to argue about morality. It never audits outcomes. These women didn't fall, they were processed. If you're still watching, don't pretend neutrality. Subscribe, like, support the channel, because algorithms love silence, and silence is how this system keeps working. The spotlight fades, the exits are narrow, and Japan keeps pretending this is normal. Let's talk about what Japan calls success after failure. Woman A, former Waseda law student. Now people say, at least she's not in AV anymore. As if survival were a moral upgrade. Woman B, former AV actress. Now an office worker by day, sex worker by night. People say, see, she reintegrated into society. Japan loves that word, reintegration, like software returning to default settings. Here's how it actually looks. At 9:03 a.m., woman B bows to her supervisor. At 9:07 a.m., she's already invisible. She types, copies, pastes, smiles when spoken to, earns 150,000 yen a month to pretend she was never extraordinary. At 9:03 p.m., she puts on lipstick again. Different uniform, same economics. This time the honesty is brutal. Her body has a price, her labor always did. Meanwhile, woman A watches all of this from the outside. She doesn't even get the office chair. Her name is radioactive. Too educated to be pitied. Too tainted to be hired. Japan didn't save them. It reclassified them. The country that sold AV as easy money now sells poverty as personal growth. The country that consumed their youth now congratulates itself for offering them exhaustion. This is the punchline Japan never laughs at. Men watch, companies profit, platforms archive forever, women age out silently. And when it's over, society leans back and says, well, they made their choices. No, they made calculations inside a rigged system. If you're laughing uncomfortably right now, good, that means you're still human. Subscribe, like, support the channel, not because this is entertainment, but because telling the truth in Japan is a luxury item. This isn't about AV, it's about what happens after the applause, after the clicks, after the consumption. And this story is only getting started. Let's stop pretending this is abstract. 150,000 yen a month. That's her entire normal life. Not savings, not disposable income, survival allowance. Now let's spend it. Rent a cheap studio, 18 to 20 square meters. If you stretch your arms, you hit your future. 120,000 yen if she's lucky. Lucky means no soundproofing. You hear neighbors breathe, no insulation. Summer feels like punishment, winter feels personal. A building old enough to remember optimism. The real joke, landlords still ask for manners, guarantors, and silence. Poverty must be polite in Japan. Remaining money, 30,000 yen utilities, electricity, gas, water. She showers fast. She fears the air conditioner. She lives like energy is a moral failing. Still costs 20,000 to 25,000 yen. Remaining money, 5,000 to 10,000 yen phone and internet, 20,000 yen. Non-negotiable. No phone means no job. No internet means no existence. Being offline is unemployment with extra steps, so she pays it anyway. Remaining money, negative numbers. Tokyo math is fascinating. You can be employed and still broke before eating. Food. This is where fantasy officially dies. No lunches out, no convenience store comfort. Rice, eggs, discount vegetables that look tired. Calories are calculated, pleasure is not. Eating once a day becomes discipline. Calling it intermittent fasting makes it sound intentional. Transportation. She walks because trains are a luxury activity. Rain doesn't cancel poverty, neither does illness. Emergency? There is no emergency fund. There is only panic and borrowing from tomorrow. This is why she works nights, not for ambition, not for greed, but because Tokyo charges rent for existing. Japan loves to say, if you work hard, you'll be fine. This woman works twice. She is still sinking. And the cruelest part? From the outside, this looks like a recovered life. Office job. Address in Tokyo. No scandals. Congratulations. She is now officially poor in silence. If this still feels too much, good. That discomfort is reality tapping the screen. Subscribe, like, support the channel. Because explaining poverty honestly gets demonetized faster than selling fantasies. Next chapter, we go even uglier. How Japan trains women to accept this as normal. Here is the number Japan never wants to calculate out loud. The gap. The gap between wages and rent. The gap between respectable work and physical survival. The gap everyone feels but pretends is rare. It isn't. When a full-time office job pays 150,000 yen and a basic Tokyo life costs 200,000 yen just to exist, the conclusion is not moral. It's mathematical. Japan likes to frame sex work as fringe behavior. An exception. A scandal, a tabloid headline. That's comforting, and completely false. Because when the numbers don't add up, bodies are used to close the gap. This is the part outsiders never understand. Japanese people are not naive. They are masters of privacy, not honesty. Privacy. They can work next to you for 5 years and you will never know how they really earn money, how close they are to collapse what they do after 9 p.m. Especially women who look normal. That woman you know, the one with the office job, the one you just met, the one who brushed past you on the street. Statistically, one of them is either currently working in the sex industry or has worked in it before, or knows exactly where to go if rent jumps next month, not because of desire, not because of deviance, because Tokyo charges interest on being alive. Japan doesn't talk about this because it breaks the fantasy of safety, the fantasy of order, the fantasy that good people survive cleanly. They don't. What makes Japan efficient is not prevention, it's concealment. Sex work here is not loud, it's quiet, scheduled, integrated into daily life like unpaid overtime. That's why it doesn't explode socially. It dissolves individually. And when someone says, "I don't know anyone like that," what they really mean is, "No one trusted me enough to tell the truth." Next chapter goes further. How Japan trains people to live double lives without ever calling it hypocrisy. Now switch seats, become the consumer. He didn't wake up one day and decide to want this. He was trained, from childhood. Before he learned how compound interest works, he learned what bodies are for. Adult magazines tucked behind convenience store counters. Late-night TV jokes that weren't really jokes. Manga, light novels. Romance games that teach persistence until consent gives up. And then AV. Everywhere. Free clips, paid platforms, algorithms that learn faster than he does. Desire in Japan isn't discovered, it's cultivated. So yes, Japanese men are also poor. Low wages, high rent, no savings. A future that looks suspiciously like a hallway with no doors. But desire doesn't wait for economic recovery, so they borrow. Credit cards, consumer loans, buy now, regret later. The same men told to be frugal are told, quietly, that sexual consumption is normal, healthy, expected. No one calls them immoral, no one audits their choices. A man who spends 50,000 yen a month on sex is stressed. A woman who earns that money is problematic. That asymmetry is not an accident. It's policy without paperwork. This is how Japan became a sex industry paradise without ever announcing it. Not with neon chaos, with order, scheduling, discretion. Everything has a menu. Everything has a receipt. Everything fits neatly after work. AV for fantasy. Fuzoku for stress relief. Delivery health for convenience. So-plans for nostalgia. It's not underground. It's integrated. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud. This industry doesn't survive because men are rich. It survives because men are lonely, conditioned, and taught that desire is the only area where spending is allowed. They can't afford families, they can't afford mistakes, but they can afford an hour, even if it's on credit. Japan will scold men for failing at marriage. It will never scold them for financing the system that replaces it. And so the loop closes. Women sell silence to survive. Men buy intimacy to endure. The economy applauds quietly. Everyone loses. But some people lose with better lighting. If you're uncomfortable right now, stay with it. Discomfort is the only thing this system can't monetize yet. Subscribe, like, support the channel.